All right. We are wrapping things up for the semester, and I just wanted to I'm not going to do a real in-depth review, but I will. I think it's wise for you guys to listen to some type of review to remember what's going to be on the final in terms of what kind of material. Uh, so I do want to remind you of some key things. For one, this is covering everything from week one all the way to the end of the semester. That's why it's called cumulative. And um, a lot of it is obviously going to deal more so with second half, but there is still stuff from the first half. Yes, there's going to be a part that deals with different theories from the first half of the semester because that was a big part of what we did. So definitely look over the individual theories and theorists that we talked about. I know that was the part that you guys had a little issues with, but you can do it. Just go back through, review those. I put it in a format that is not matching, so that should help. Um, but look over that, and I think you'll be fine with it. And let's see what else I need to tell you about. Um, Also, let's see, we have some different things on besides the theories and theorists. There's not a whole lot that pertains to anything dealing with history. I didn't ask of anything along those lines because I didn't think that was really pertinent or fair. So that being said, though, a lot of it will deal with other things like what we talked about the second half of the semester, such as a lot of it will deal with um, the profiling violent crime stuff that we covered. So yes, that covers the book, and whether or not you ever had the book, chose to buy it or not, obviously it would have been more beneficial and helpful if you would have had it, as I stated at the beginning of the semester. But it is not absolutely required because I covered that material through my lectures, the different PowerPoints that you guys had, but mostly those lectures. But definitely know the different categories. Your disorganized asocial offender and your organized non-social offender. Those are categories. Remember that. Okay. Um, Also, you have the different types of murder, different types of rapists. We talked about the difference between pedophile and child molester. We also talked to different groups. I won't go into great detail on your final about the different groups, but do be aware of the understand. Let me put it this way: it's going to help you a lot. I think simplify your studying for the pedophile part of it, pedophile and child molester aspect. Understand the bigger groups, because there's the those who are situational, meaning it's just based on they don't prefer to be with children. It just happens to be based on certain circumstances at the time. That's situational, and then preferential is more so obviously those are the people that want to be with children. Okay, so be aware of that, understand the difference, and know how to distinguish the two. That's probably the best thing. I already said it, but definitely spend time on the different types of um, not just categories, but the types of murders, serial murders, also rapists. Those are probably what I spent a good chunk amount of good chunk of your final talking about. Also, um, it will be a good idea to uh, review some stuff from Mindhunter. You had to think about it. I've already made it available, and know that those things are no longer available as far as the quizzes to take. You already had the opportunity to make those up, but you've already taken those quizzes, or at least had access to the book itself. There are, I think, five or somewhere between 5 and 7 questions that deal with with the Mindhunter uh, quizzes and or questions and topics from that book. So be looking at that, and trying to think anything else that you guys really need to understand or know. But a lot of it, honestly, is just so much of it is going to come from what we talked about with profiling violent crimes and those notes, and the presentations, lectures that I had. Um, that's going to be the easiest way and best way to do well. Like I said, review stuff from the beginning. All you really have to review from the first half of the semester is like go over the different theories and theorists. Um, Let's see. Something else I do want to point out that has very little to do with the actual exam. It does have to do with some of your work, your presentation. There was a glaring problem I noticed with a lot of the presentations that were made. Some of you did a great job, and I commend you for that. Um, and like I said, you really did a good job. It didn't have to be perfect with um, how it was presented. It didn't have to be perfect with how pretty it looked or anything like that, or how professional it looked. But some of you did a very good job, and I wanted to. You should see that in your grade. But I also saw where the glaring problem I had with a lot of people was whenever it shows something being worth 30% of your presentation, you should probably spend a significant time on that material, and you should also spend time actually answering that question. For example, when I ask you for the category of offender and you don't give me that, that's a big problem. Same thing goes with type, and there is a difference between the category and type. We discussed this throughout the semester. The category has to do with organized, disorganized, and that kind of stuff. Whereas your types are going to be more so, your power control, your hedonistic, lust, thrill, kill type, uh, the comfort-oriented, hedonistic, the anger, retaliation, rapist, things like that. That is a type, and those are things that we discuss. So there should not have been any reason uh, to be confused by that. You had an ample opportunity to ask questions throughout the semester through email, through phone call, virtual office hours, things like that. That being said, that's done and over with. Although I will say I still have some people that I've given ample opportunities to resubmit, and that's apparently not something that they are choosing to do. And that's going to have a huge impact on their grade, because remember, your presentation is 20% of your grade, and your final itself. So if you are, and this is what I want to see from a positive standpoint, is if you're looking at your grade right now, uh, everything, I will go back through and make sure, but I believe everything has been, as of whatever would have been done yesterday uh, evening time, all that has been submitted, all that's been graded. So your grade should be up to date, up except for your final. But understand, and if your grade is on the line, like say, you're 15 percentage points away from actually passing this class or getting the grade you want. That's probably the better way of saying it. Your final is worth 20%. So you do very well on your final, you can bring your grade up that much. Um, so don't say, oh, well, I already have a bad grade, I'm not even going to worry about the final. Don't blow it off. And same thing goes for having a good grade. If you blow off the final or don't take it, that's 20%. So try to view it from a positive perspective and say, hey, I can still have a big positive impact on my grade for this class. Take the time. Don't rush to the final just to get things done and be like, oh, I'm done with my classes, now I can focus on summer. I strongly encourage you to take the time to um, review, not just for this class, but for other classes. But definitely take the time to review, take the time to study what you need to do, make sure you are confident and ready, and then um, go from there. If you have specific questions throughout this week, you can ask them. I'm not going to answer silly questions like how many questions are going to be on the final, or um, questions where I have to give you the exact answer to something, because I understand how things work. I hope most of you would have enough integrity not to cheat, but I also know that it's possible that it might happen. But either way, if you have a question about something, or say you don't understand the difference between, hey, what's the difference between a power assurance and a uh, power, um, power reassurance and say another type of rape is such as like sadistic, or something like that. Power assertive versus power assurance. Okay, that's a good example there. What exactly is the difference? If you ask me those questions, I can give you an answer, and maybe that will help you. But don't just blow it off. you can do well. Just do it. I hate to try to beat a dead horse here, but I want you to do well. I think you can do well, but you just have to put in the effort and time. So, all right. That being said, let's see. The test, once again, as a reminder, your final will be available from Monday, May 11th, starting at noon Eastern Time, through Friday at 11:59 p.m. That is when your final is going to be available. You have 1 hour and 45 minutes to complete it, just like you would if you were taking a final on campus. That's how I have it set up, and that's fine. Take your time, but I will tell you, it's one of those deals where if you choose or try to cheat with it, it's going to be really complicated, and it would probably be difficult to get through the test if you don't know the material off the top of your, if you don't know the material well enough, you're going to have a hard time trying to look it up and find it well enough to make it all the way through the test and to do well. I mean, I will tell you that it's designed that way. And to eliminate the silly question of how many questions or points is this, first of all, the points have already been set up before. 200 points worth 20% of your grade. And it's also, it says 38 questions, but really it comes out to be about 43, I take that back, 42 questions, because some of them are multiple parts, but 42 questions. And here's the nice thing I chose to do. I chose to make this, I chose to give you some extra credit opportunities on the final itself. So what that means is there are questions in there that will be set up as straight up extra credit questions. So and you will have 200 points of regular points available, but you can do as well as 210 points on the final. I thought it'd be a good way to kind of help you guys out. So either way, I am glad that most of you have at least tried to stick with it and do some good work. And I just, like I said, I want you to do well on this. I want you to ask questions if you have them before you take the final. And anybody that hasn't registered for fall and summer classes, go ahead and contact me, and we can work that out also. But hopefully you've enjoyed this material. I find it really interesting. And the only difference is we probably didn't get into as much detail with this simply because we didn't get to have discussions in class. But that's the way it goes sometimes when we were thrust into this particular position, or situation. But either way, good luck with it. Contact me if you need something. Otherwise, I think you can do well, and I hope you do well in all of your finals and enjoy your summer. God bless.